Looking at matters back home, Democratic Alliance Federal Chairperson Helen Zille has raised concerns about the potential impact of Cilliers Brink's removal as Tshwane mayor on the national relationship between her party and the ANC. Think Foundation founder and policy analyst Dr. Lucky Mathebula joins us to expand on this matter. Dr. Mathebula, very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. We've seen and really just watched the reaction, some seniors in the ANC having slammed Helen Zille over her threat to risk the stability of the GNU to have Tshwane as Cilliers Brink reinstated, more so as both parties and some others have an uneasy relationship of mutual dependence on each other. What should we make of the threat? Is it a test of the new arrangement, or does it perhaps lean more towards the GNU's fragility?
Thank you, Paul, for the time and the invite. Yes, Paul, let me start by saying that the statement by Helen Zille, it is a threat to the stability of the GNU because it is inviting a response from the ANC. And if the ANC can respond the same way, then we know that the GNU is in for a nice boxing match. But the truth of the matter is that the GNU is a very fragile arrangement. Had it not been because of the ANC's capability to respect its democratic centralism, the GNU would not have lasted as we speak now, because it is clear between everybody and to everybody that there are politicians in the ANC that are opposed very sophisticatedly to the GNU.
And with that, I mean, what political power wrangling are we seeing starting to emerge here, as we know that Zille's threat over Tshwane, of course, started off with her writing to the ANC Secretary General, Cilliers Brink, and warning that failure to do so could undermine talks on stabilizing hung metros, and also accusing Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi of pressuring the ANC's national leadership to keep the DA out of power.
Look, let's not mince words. The Gauteng ANC is not impressed with the GNU.
Yeah.
If any politician in Gauteng ANC can stand up and say they are embracing the GNU in its totality, he would be a liar. The Gauteng PEC is not impressed about the GNU, and they've undermined it by actions from the beginning. They did not follow or toe the party line from day one. They took the principles of the GNU and they interpreted them to suit what they wanted in Gauteng, but not to suit what the center envisaged. And because of that, the National Executive Committee is sitting with a quagmire of a true interpretation of the GNU, a correct one, of course, by the PEC of Gauteng, but at variance with what National is doing. And the national unity thing is seen from two vantage points. For example, to the Gauteng, they see national unity, including all other political parties, and the DA must join. But at National, they see the DA being an integral part of that. And that is the paradox that the ANC is facing. Yep. But let me hasten to say that all the 52 regions of the ANC, from November onwards, they are facing an expiry date of the electoral mandate. So there will be regional conferences of the ANC at the 52 regions. And all provincial executive committees are going to be sensitive to oppose the interest of regional executive committees. And Tshwane has been influential in the election of Panyaza in the last provincial executive election. So Panyaza cannot go against the wishes of the regional executive committee of Tshwane, just as a political reality.
Yeah, you say this as, of course, we're still not completely behind us is the ANC's devastating performance of less than 50% from the 2024 national and provincial elections. And as we speak, I mean, you're hinting at local government electioneering having already begun. We've seen service delivery protests already erupting in Polokwane, Limpopo. We've also seen threats around Buffalo City Mayor Princess Faku, and she also faced a barrage of complaints at a Mdantsane outreach meeting with frustrated residents not so long ago. That in itself pointing to a shift in terms of the atmosphere and really looking to secure positions and in influence. What's to be made of this space?
The ANC succession battle has begun. It is strong at the regional executive committee level, but the date of 16 December 2027 is getting nearer. And that date of 16 December 2027 is the date at which Cyril Ramaphosa is going to read the political report and is no longer president. And people are bickering to say when he leaves, who goes in and how does he go in? And that process is based on who would have had control of the regions of the ANC from now. And those regions of the ANC would have a significant influence on the provinces of the ANC, and the provinces of the ANC would have a significant influence on the National Executive Committee of the ANC. Now, putting those three things together, the instability of local government has always been a victim of internal ANC succession battles, because it comes right the year before the ANC goes to the national conference, and people are not sober at the election of mayors, the election of people into local government. And that's why local government, intergovernmental relations speaking, ends up getting leadership that is actually the reject of what could not have made in national government, or people that are able, not rejects actually, people that were able to pick up the spoils at the regional executive committee level. This challenge, it's a fundamental challenge that the renewal of the ANC is starting to talk about. And until this is dealt with properly, the Tshwane thing, it's a symptom, it's a tip of an iceberg. The real iceberg is the political capital that comes with taking control of Tshwane and using the control of Tshwane to build up to all other regional conferences that are going to be Tshwane until to the national conference. It is a reality that we are now entering into.
As you touch on President Cyril Ramaphosa, I mean, we saw him perfecting the GNU message in New York as he addressed the United Nations General Assembly, of course being very deliberate on inclusivity and unity, really just striking that chord, talking about how South Africa's economy started to improve and how investor confidence is on the rise. With the fragile confidence in South Africa's GNU, how long do you think market optimism will last as we consider, I mean, you've touched already on some of the elements of this question, but just looking ahead and the sort of confidence and selling South Africa on the international stage that Ramaphosa displayed last week?
One of the most interesting things that we are not reporting a lot in South Africa is that as Ramaphosa was in New York and building confidence in the GNU, what has been interesting is that Deputy President Paul Mashatile is in London, one of the largest investors or largest owners of most of the assets in South Africa, or productive assets in South Africa. And what Paul Mashatile is doing in London is actually saying to investors that here I am, take note, Cyril Ramaphosa is structurally out of the game in 2027, and I'm the one that is contesting. Look at me, I might be the heir apparent, depending on what the voters are going to treat the ANC in 2029, but I am the heir apparent. And those conversations between what is happening in New York and what is happening in London should be seen as working together. And this is vintage ANC, you know, the heritage that the ANC has gotten from the diplomatic and international prowess that it has learned from Oliver Tambo. So the truth of the matter is that the succession battle has begun, and Tshwane, it's an unnecessary sideshow that needs attention from the Secretary General of the ANC, because it is a sideshow, but in the local scheme of things, it is very significant, because what happens in Tshwane might actually start the cadence of what will happen in Ekurhuleni, Buffalo City, Port Elizabeth, and all other big cities like Mafikeng, Polokwane, Kimberley, and all those things. So this is the tip of the iceberg. It's a starting of a rollout thing, but the leaving of Brink, it's a given. Brink won't come back. Even if Helen Zille can win the debate, it will be another leader, but Brink won't come back. And even if Zille wins, the principles of government of national unity is that the one with a majority must govern, which means the ANC must start thinking about who do they make the mayor.
Yeah.
The debate in the ANC should be about who follows that.
And of course, what are the likelihoods? I mean, very quickly, we're out of time, but just as you raised that question, Action SA had also spoken about a candidate. What are the likelihoods?
Look, it is not innocent that Dr. Tshwane I Brink is trending. It is not innocent. Dr. Tshwane I Brink was the advisor of Panyaza Letupi, and it was interesting that before these shenanigans, Tshwane I Brink was then taken out of the office of Panyaza Letupi. We all asked ourselves, where is Kosi going? And when this came out, it was clear where Kosi might be headed to. But there are other people in the city that are looking at it. There are people in the Regional Executive Committee. There are veterans in Tshwane. There are names that have been bandied about. But Tshwane I Brink is the one that is trending. There's a talk of a woman that woman will soon be trending. And all those things are pointing out that the ANC is seriously talking about who should. We hope they don't Togo Didiza Tshwane again, because the Togo-didization of Tshwane has actually cost Tshwane where it is. We hope the NEC is not going to bring a leader that is not found in the, I always say, in the class register of primary schools in the townships of Mamelodi, because being a Pretorian means that you should really understand what Pretoria is or Tshwane is, where in Tshwane you should move development. So you cannot bring people that come from far-flung lands and they have a theoretical understanding of Tshwane. That will be the Togo-didization of Tshwane politics again, and it might impact on 2026.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Always a pleasure. Dr. Lucky Mathebula, Think Foundation founder and policy analyst, of course, just giving us a sense of the dynamics in Tshwane and the formation of the GNU going forward.